Offensive jihad. When Muslims establish a majority and achieve political power in an area, they are commanded to begin offensive jihad. Once Mecca and Arabia were under Muhammad's control, the message of the Quran changed yet again. Suddenly, Muslims weren't just told to fight against aggressors. They were commanded to fight non-Muslims simply for being non-Muslims.
As the Holy Quran tells us,
O Prophet, strive hard against the unbelievers and the hypocrites, and be unyielding to them. Surely Allah has bought of the believers their persons and their property for this, that they shall have the garden. They fight in Allah's way, so they slay and are slain. O you who believe, fight those of the unbelievers who are near to you, and let them find in you hardness.
tolerance, tolerance, tolerance.
If Muslims have the military strength to expand their political power and to violently subjugate non-Muslim populations, forcing these non-Muslims to pay tribute, the Quran commands them to do so. Surah 9:29.
As the Holy Quran tells us,
Fight those who believe not in Allah nor the last day, nor hold that forbidden which hath been forbidden by Allah and His Messenger, nor acknowledge the religion of truth from among the people of the book, until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. This verse doesn't order Muslims to fight oppressors or even critics. It orders Muslims to fight those who don't believe in Allah.
tolerance,
Tolerance, tolerance, tolerance, tolerance, tolerance, tolerance.
We find similar teachings in Islam's most trusted collections of ahadith. Sahih al-Bukhari 69:24. Muhammad said, I've been ordered to fight the people till they say, La ilaha illallah. None has the right to be worshipped but Allah, and whoever said, La ilaha illallah, Allah will save his property and his life from me.
tolerance, religious tolerance, tolerance, religious tolerance.
Sahih Muslim, number 30. Muhammad said, I've been commanded to fight against people so long as they do not declare that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad didn't say, I've been commanded to fight people until they stop persecuting us. That would be stage 2. It's stage 3. And the same guy who complained just a few years earlier that people were persecuting him because of his beliefs now says he's been commanded to fight people based on what they believe. Total hypocrisy.
Religious tolerance, religious tolerance, religious tolerance.
In the offensive jihad stage, Muslims can also expel Christians and Jews from lands they've been living in for centuries in order to keep certain areas that are important to the Muslim community pure. Areas such as Arabia. In Sahih Muslim 43:66, Muhammad says, I will expel the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula and will not leave any but Muslims. He won't leave anyone but Muslims. Is this a man who promoted religious diversity and tolerance? Only when he was in the minority. As soon as Muslims had control of the government, diversity and tolerance went out the window, along with the Jews and Christians.
We will convey our deep appreciation for the Islamic faith, which has done so much over the centuries to shape the world.
So this is the pattern that's been laid down for Muslims by their prophet. Stage 1, stealth jihad. When Muslims are too weak to fight, they promote peace and tolerance outwardly but never inwardly. They practice taqiyya, they prepare for jihad behind the scenes, they claim victim status, and they seek special privileges for Islam. Stage 2, defensive jihad. When Muslims are strong enough to fight but not strong enough to subjugate the unbelievers, they terrorize their enemies, murder critics, and look for excuses to attack other groups. Stage 3, offensive jihad. When Muslims are in the majority, they violently subjugate all non-Muslims, they strive to expand their political dominion, and they rid important Muslim lands of all non-Muslims. This is the pattern we find in the Quran, in the Hadith, and in the Muslim commentaries.
Assalamu alaikum.
Now, look around the world and tell me what you see. Saudi Arabia, what stage are they in? Stage 3, obviously. Massive Muslim majority. Lo and behold, if you're not a Muslim, you can't preach, you can't build a place of worship, you can't even set foot in the city of Mecca. Exactly what we would expect based on the Muslim sources. Certain places in Africa, and I'd say some areas of Europe, are in stage 2. Muslims have enough fighters and resources and alliances to fight defensively. And what do? We see terrorism. We see churches being burned to the ground or blown up in Nigeria and Ethiopia. We see no-go zones forming and critics of Islam being killed, even in Europe. Again, exactly what we would expect based on the Muslim sources. Here in America, where Muslims form a small minority of the population, what stage are we in? Stage 1. What's Islam all about, according to American Muslims? It's all about peace and tolerance. Muslims just want to be like everyone else, but racist hate mongers are attacking them because of their beliefs. That's why we should all be thankful that the government and Christians and Jews are stepping in to defend Muslims from bigots and Islamophobes, just as governments and Christians and Jews stepped in to defend Muslims during the time of Muhammad.
And I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear.
My friends, how difficult is this to figure out? What have we discussed that a 6-year-old couldn't understand? Muslims have been using the same playbook for 14 centuries. It's in all their sources. It's as plain as day. And yet our leaders and the media just can't understand why Christians and Jews are second-class citizens in the Muslim world, or why Muslims in Europe are ready to kill over cartoons, or why Muslims in America are so desperate for victim status they'll cry discrimination when a home improvement store doesn't pay for advertising on one of the most boring shows ever. It's all right here. Someone can't understand this. I'd say he doesn't want to understand it. But we've reached a point in history when we can no longer afford to be willfully stupid. If our leaders are incapable of grasping the 3-step strategy of jihadists, they have no business leading a marching band, let alone a Western nation. Unfortunately, Muslims have been so successful in their stage 1 operations, they've convinced our leaders and the media that the only information we need when it comes to Islam is what's handed to us by terrorist-linked Muslim organizations like CARE.
Bin Laden was not a Muslim leader.
We're officially on our own. If we want to popularize this information, we'll have to do it ourselves. Sending this video to everyone you know would be a good start. I also think someone needs to put this material into a pamphlet so we can all pass out copies. Oh, what's this? It's a double-sided pamphlet discussing the 3 stages of jihad. It seems I've already done most of the work for you. All you need to do is go to my blog, answeringmuslims.com, click on the Jihad tab at the top, and open the 3 stages of jihad PDF pamphlet file. You can print this out, fold it up, and give it to those who need to know about jihad, which is pretty much everyone. Islam's greatest ally in the West is ignorance. Jihadists can't subjugate us through physical force, so they're doing their best to subjugate our minds. The ultimate obstacle to global jihad, then, is an informed population of free people. Wouldn't you like to be an obstacle to jihad in Sharia? I know I would. In 2012, let's make a special, freedom-sized effort to educate ourselves and others about the inner workings of the jihadist machine. And let us call our project Operation Monkey Wrench. I think it's important to add a quick appendix on westernized Muslims. I've said in this video that Muslims in stage 1 are commanded to deceive non-Muslims in order to keep us ignorant of Islam's violent goals. But if you present this information to your Muslim friends, they're going to deny it. Now, does this mean they're practicing taqiyya? No. When your Muslim friends tell you that Islam is a religion of peace, are they trying to trick you? Probably not. Most Muslims in America have been influenced by Western values more than they've been influenced by Islam. They may pray 5 times a day or fast during Ramadan, but their knowledge of Islam doesn't get much deeper than that. They've read very little of what's in their sources, and they know practically nothing about what we've discussed in this video. So, chances are, when your Muslim friends tell you that Islam is peaceful, they really believe it. No need to accuse them of lying. Sadly, your westernized Muslim friends aren't a source of Islamic doctrine. Islamic doctrine is grounded in the Quran and the Sunnah of Muhammad, and these sources are perfectly clear when it comes to jihad. So I think we need to add another stage to our 3 stages. Stage 0, the totally clueless about jihad stage.